Back when I was starting out learning everything about the wonderful world of web development, I decided I wanted to learn how to make content and image sliders like these. Now, of course, the problem with this was that every video or tutorial I would find on this topic was always leveraging third-party JavaScript libraries to do this. While this is a viable solution, what truly makes you a great developer is knowing how to build these by yourself, before you start using libraries to cut corners. And in this video, I will be teaching you exactly how to do this. We will only use HTML, CSS and JavaScript to make a simple image slider, and you will be able to see just how easy it is. I expect that you already know the basics of these languages and how to set up the files. I will also add the Google icon CDN so that we can use some basic icons in our project. Now for the images, I will go to unsplash.com and I will grab some images from there. There are a lot of great free images on here you can find. I will grab just 3 of them, but of course you can grab as many as you wish and create as many slides as you wish as well. The HTML code for this section will be quite simple. We will have the main section, which will give the class of image slider, then the container that will contain all the slides inside, and of course the slides themselves. This slide will contain an image and a caption for the image. As I said before, you can create as many as you wish, but I will create just 3 slides for the simplicity of this tutorial. After that, we will start creating the arrow buttons so that we can use the image slider and slide between the images. So this is the place where we are going to use the Google icons that we imported earlier. Of course, you can use any other icons that you wish. Now, moving on to the CSS code, we start by resetting some of the predefined browser styles. We do this in order to provide a consistent look throughout every browser, and it is generally a good practice. Then we add a background color to the image slider element. We make it take up the entire screen. We also want to hide any overflowing elements inside of this element, and we give it a position of relative. Then, as far as the container element, we will give it a width of the maximum width of the elements inside. We will also give it a position of relative and move it to the left by the entire screen width. We will also give it a display of flex and a transition of 400 milliseconds. We will also make the slide element take up the entire screen, give it the position of relative, and we will also hide any overflowing elements inside. We will position the image to be in the center of the screen, or in this case the center of the slide element, which takes up the entire screen. We will also make it full width and height, and we will also make sure that it covers the entire screen without losing its aspect ratio, and we do this by setting the object fit to cover. Then we will simply position the caption element to the bottom of the screen, and we will also make it a little bit more appealing. Now I will position the buttons and also make a custom look to them, and also I will give a simple hover effect. And finally, we will create the animation keyframes for the slide right and slide left animations of the slider. The animation simply moves the container element either 100% to the left or to the right. Once that is done, it will restart to the beginning position. Of course, we will be able to see these animations once we are done with the JavaScript code. So this is actually what we have on the screen right now. You cannot see the whole thing like this, and that is the reason I created this sketch, so that you may have a better understanding of what happens behind the screen. Now we will move on to the JavaScript so that we can create the controls for the actual image slider. And we will start off by getting all of the needed elements from the document object model. Then we will add a simple click event to the right arrow button. Inside we will select all of the slides, add the slide to right animation, and then we will set a timeout of 600 milliseconds. And this is the time needed for the animation to finish. Then inside the timeout we will restart the animation. We have to do this in order to be able to run it again. This is also the place where we will actually reorder the slides. So when the animation is done, these slides will also reorder. So this will be seamless and you won't be able to tell it's happening. But it is happening behind the scenes. And I will actually show you a video of that later on. Then we pretty much do the same thing for the left arrow. Now don't get confused here, I added in the comments that it is the right arrow, but it is actually the left arrow. The only difference here is that we are adding the slide left animation, and instead of moving the first slide to the last position, we are moving the last slide to the first position. So with all of this we are done, so that is it. You can now use the slider yourself and see how easy it is. I will also show you what happens behind the scenes while you are clicking these arrows, so you can see here how the slides are rearranging themselves. It looks seamless when all of this is taking the entire width and height of the screen, but here you can see what actually happens behind the screen. If you want to have the images scale like this, where you can see the whole image as you shrink down the screen size, you can do it simply by deleting this line that I have highlighted here in this code. Of course, there is much more to image sliders, like let's say pagination or drag controls, and I will go through all of that in future videos, but for now I just wanted to make it simple. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.